apparently, not only do you have to feed your garden regularly, you actually have to plant things at different times. Who knew? I sure didn't. Anyway, yeah, I've been doing a bunch of research this week, and it turns out that you actually have to, some things like to be planted in the cool and in the shade, and some things I should have planted months ago, and there's no sense in planting them now, like radishes and peas and whatever. We're almost to May 1st here. I might be able to get away with planting some lettuce in a shady spot. I'm going to try some in that garden that I'm prepping, but it'll be a few weeks before that gets done. But that gets some sun early in the morning, and then it's shaded for most of the day, like from about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on. Oh, my beautiful new blueberry plant that's going to go out near my other blueberry plant. For now, it's just sitting here because it's been rainy and ucky out, so I haven't had time to plant it. Anyway, let's move on. I was just going to come by and say, still nothing here, but look at that. I think that might be a pea, just starting to poke its little head out. So that would be interesting. I don't see any others. This guy here is starting to get some green on it again, though. So we know for sure it's not dead. And of course the mint is, as always, doing fabulously. And there's a couple weeds. I need to come out and grab them too. If we ever get a day where it's not raining. Again, my mint is doing beautifully. Both kinds. I have peppermint and spearmint. Yeah. And here we are at the front garden. You can see all the daffodils have died off, but the tulips are there, and there's some kind of I'm not sure what it's called, a carnation or a mom or something, I don't remember. But that there, I'm sure somebody can tell me. And then there's these guys back here. I need to come out here and get a picture of them. I think I planted them, but I'm not sure. I think they're zinnias. I think that's what I planted, so I'm hoping that's what they are. Anyway, time will tell. No flowers on the roses yet, but they are all growing nicely, and I'm not seeing any of that awful black spot I had to deal with last year. So that makes me happy. You can see all the new growth coming out on these. These roses are just going to be beautiful this summer. I do have to come out here and weed, though. Look at all those weeds. Yeah, the roses are looking good. And this bed too is growing like crazy. That rose is starting to really take off. These irises. Oh, look. Looks like we had some pet deer in here the other day. Damaging that. Gosh dang it. I love the deer, but they're a bit of a pain when it comes to my garden. That's why all this out here is flowers, because it's not fenced in or anything. But yeah, my wildflowers in here are starting to come up, and lots of different flowers that are coming up here, so we should have some beauteousness here soon. Oh my goodness, look at the lilacs. They're just starting to flower. Oh, I love lilacs. I can't wait to smell this. This little bush is going to be so coated, and I'm so thrilled because we thought for sure when we planted it in here last year that it was going to die. So we are quite thrilled with this baby. Nothing showing up in here yet, although I do see some pushing at the edges, which may indicate I'm going to have something break through here in a day or two. I'm not going to reach over and pull it aside. We'll just let it push through on its own. Here's my garlic that is just doing spectacular. My goodness. It's starting to die off on the bottom there. So I was talking to someone the other day, and they said let the 3 leaves at the bottom completely die off before you harvest it. So that is what I'm going to do. And then I've got my little baby garlics that are coming up as well, and I'll harvest them in the fall when I plant some more. And then I think that these, again, I think these are wildflowers. that I planted in here. And this here, I think, is also a wildflower. It's going to be getting some flowers in a few days. Anyway, I love flowers throughout my garden, so of course my thyme is doing fabulously, and so is my parsley. Ah, look at these little guys. These are my potatoes. They are popping up through that straw, or through that hay. Some of them are anyway. I've got one that's just a big mound there yet. See, there's one there. So yay, my potatoes are growing. And then this is my established blueberry, and it's starting to get a bunch of little buds on it and stuff. So yay, blueberries. So, and here is the fantastic revision that Honey made to this bed. You can see that he's added another 8 inches depth for it. So I haven't added any more dirt in it yet, because just before he did this, I planted some peas in here. So I don't know. I think I've got a couple of them coming up right down here. There's one there. That might be the only one that survived back here. I only planted about half a dozen. But then we dug around in the dirt and poked around and moved other stuff and walked on it, and etc., etc., etc. So, still wondering what that little flower is. Hasn't flowered yet, so I don't know. This little guy down here, I'm not sure what they're called. I think they're like black-eyed Susans or something. I don't know, I'll have to look it up. But they're all over my yard. I don't mind them. I think they're pretty. Lemon balm is doing good. The grass is starting to come back. I put peas in this side too, but I'm not seeing anything come up. Like I said, we dug all around in it and poked around and moved it and all that stuff. Lavender is doing lovely. Okay, so this is that bed that Honey built up for me. And I needed to fill it with something, so I'm filling it with grass. And yeah, he just dumped a whole ton of it in there. I'm going to move it around, and then I'm going to add in some compost and a couple bags of dirt on top. And that is going to fill the garden on the one side. And then, of course, over on this side, I don't want to do anything yet because I do have peas coming up. But over here, I haven't planted anything. So anything that's coming up already is a volunteer from something else. So I don't really care. And so the grass will either kill it or it'll grow up through the grass and the dirt. One or the other. And I know that the lavender will be fine because it lives through anything. I know that's going to be a lot of nitrogen in there, but I think it'll be okay. I'll find out anyway. Dave's over there. Look, shake your head again, honey.
What?
He's over there shaking his head. He thinks I'm crazy. I wonder if I should throw some hay in there with it before I put the dirt down.
Well, is there anything else you want me to lift and tote and whatever?
No, you can go sit down and rest your back.
Take a break?
You can go take a break.
And stuff?
So there it sits, and on Honey's recommendation, I'm going to let it dry for a couple of days, just like that. And then I'll come in and maybe throw a layer of straw down over it. And yeah, it's supposed to rain, so it should sink down a good couple inches. And then I'll throw in a layer of straw to give it some of that brown that it needs for composting properly, apparently. Like what, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing, so... So we'll see. I don't know. I've seen some that say the grass is good and you can use green grass, and I've seen others that say you can't use green grass. You have to like lay it out somewhere to dry. Well, I don't have room in my little tiny yard to have piles of grass laying out to dry. So they're going on my beds and they're drying out there, and I hope I don't kill everything. Tell me if I'm killing everything, please. My strawberries are starting to come back. I wonder if I should let them flower. I just moved them last year to this bed, and several of them haven't come up even. But the ones that have look like they're nice and healthy. So, I don't know. So after much of my research this week, I'm really left with two questions in my mind, and they both are regarding fertilizer, which of course was my biggest downfall in the past, I believe. It was not fertilizing. I always thought that you just, I amended my soil at the beginning of the year, and I'd add in compost and fresh soil and all that stuff, and I'd have beautiful dirt to start with, and I'd put my plants in, and they do wonderfully for a little while, and then they just kind of peter off and not do anything. And I never really understood why that happened, because I thought you just had to amend your soil at the beginning of the year and that was good enough. Well, that's not apparently the case. So the two questions I still have regarding fertilizer that I haven't been able to find in my research are, what do you do if it's time to put some water-soluble fertilizer onto your plants, but it's been raining for days and days and days? So I'm out here on Vancouver Island, and although we do get beautiful weather here, I'm in a 8B, I believe is my zone, and we're way past the last frost date and stuff, but I got rain and rain and rain and rain. But tomorrow is the day that my plants it's 2 weeks since the last time I fed them. And so I'm wondering, do I feed them anyway, or do I wait till it dries out a little bit? And then my other question that is also about fertilizer is, so about 6 to 8 weeks ago, before I planted anything, I amended the beds and I brought in some super dirt and, I had some compost and I put that in there, and I added some long time release fertilizer. And so now my question is, it's about due for another dose, apparently. It says every 6 to 8 weeks to do it, so I was going to dose it again, but do I dose it with that at the same time that I'm doing my my liquid fertilizer, or do I want to stagger those and do it, maybe put off the time release fertilizer for another week and do the water soluble now, or do I want to, I don't know. So anybody has answers to those questions, me and my garden would really appreciate it. So Jess from Roots and Refuge Farms says that you should pick a spot in your garden that you love to sit. And I have to say that for me, this is my space. So I don't have a big garden like many other people do in some of the groups and stuff that I follow. But ever since we put that fence up last year, I have this peaceful little sanctuary that is just, to me, is just breathtaking. And I can't wait for it to really take off soon. A little bit longer. I have to be patient. I have plants inside, but I have to be patient about putting them out because they're tomatoes and peppers and they're not ready to come out yet. And there's a few other things that I need to wait and plant after the end of April. So yeah, I have to wait till my temperatures at night get up to 50 consistently. And they're not yet. They're still falling below 50 for at least 2 to 3 hours every night. And that's a little bit too much. So, apparently, I'm just learning all this stuff. So, oh my gosh, there's so much. We'll see. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking a tour of my garden with me. And really, if you have any tips or tricks that you'd like to share with me about small gardening, I know I would appreciate it. So I don't remember if I shared this and took video of it yet or not, so I'm going to do it again just in case I didn't. I don't think I ever did. So I did buy some plants because I knew that my seeds would not be here in time to do anything. So I ordered a couple of tomatoes and some peppers. So I have an Elsa Craig. And then you can see in the back there, I have a Roma. So the Roma is a determinant type of tomato. And the Elsa Craig is heirloom. It's actually semi-determinant is what it says. So it only grows to a certain height still, but it does grow to be about 6 feet tall. So, and then I wanted some different peppers. So I got a sweet Odessa Market. And now all of these are new to me. I have no idea really what they are. I've never tried them. I've never grown them before. Here's another one, a Hungarian paprika. I asked the gal at the garden store and they're delivering, so I really didn't go in to see what they had. I said I want 3 peppers, 1 sweet, 1 hot, and 1 in between. So these are what she sent me. The Odessa Market is apparently sweet, and the Hungarian paprika is in between, and I will be able to make my very own paprika with that, so that's kind of exciting. And then over here we have a Bulgarian carrot pepper, which is supposed to be quite hot and really good in salsa and stuff. And then these guys, and they're getting super leggy, so I'm going to have to trim off some leaves and plant them into something else here pretty quickly. These are just some cherry tomatoes. I hadn't gotten any seeds. And so some cherry tomatoes we had sitting on the counter, I saved the seeds out of them and tossed them in here. And lo and behold, they have sprouted up. And so I've actually thinned them down to these 3 were the strongest, but I need to get them into some actual pots. I can see lots of little hairs on the stems that I know will turn into roots if I put them underground. So that's going to be what happens here in the next day or two. So that's it for me today. I'm going to head on back into the house and I guess edit some video because now that I've taken some, I'm a little overdue on my weekly tour of the garden, but it is what it is. And anyway, I thank you for watching. I thank you for subscribing. I thank you for your comments. I like all those things. So I try to respond to everybody still. My channel is small, so I'm still able to interact individually with people who leave me comments and stuff, and I would love to hear from you. Have yourself a fantastic day, and don't be afraid to get out there and try something new. Life is all about learning, and we're all here for the journey. So take care. Bye now.